Other concepts, emotional gap. Emotional gap is just letting your emotions guide your investment decisions. A lot of it comes down to primarily it's a greed or fear, where I'm greedy and I'm afraid I'm going to lose out on a big investment. But it's emotional. It's not based on whether or not there's actual value, or it's fear of, um, if I invest the money, I'm going to potentially lose it when it might be a really safe investment. So it's just letting your emotions guide you as opposed to actual evidence. Anchoring bias. This is a good one to talk about. So anchoring bias, we've all done it. It's when you set a value on something that's based on some arbitrary benchmark or number, right? Um, it's the difference between the actual value of the thing versus the assumed value, right? So give you a great example. I'm applying for a job, right? And the person there is going to be like, okay, let's say they're hoping to get me for 50,000 a year, right? And they say to me, okay, well, what do you think? What would your ideal salary be, right? So now we're negotiating about what my value is as an employee. Now, if I say, well, I think my value, I think I should be getting about 55. Well, it's a little bit higher than what they wanted, but it's not that much higher. So they could sit there and go, well, we were thinking about 40. And we negotiate, and then maybe I get 45. So I didn't set it high enough to raise the bar from my end. Now, if I sit there and go, well, I want 100, right? Now, they might say that's too much or whatever, but they might also sit there and go, well, wait a second, 100, maybe we, the employer, the potential employer, maybe we undervalued this position. Maybe we didn't set the right goal, right? So maybe they come back and go 75 or 80, right? But that would be how that would work in a negotiation. On the other side of that coin, if I were the hiring person and somebody came in, I would be trying to lowball them initially and work my way up to what I was willing to pay. But if I set the price too high, if I sit there and go, oh, well, I think 70,000, when I really only think 50, 50 was probably all I can afford or want, right? Then I've already set the bar too high. I'm not going to get what I want at that point. So I've already set the expectation. So there's an expectation of what the goal is, but it's totally arbitrary. It's not based on anything tangible or real. Um, this also happens too with the purchase price of stock. So I've had this before. Like you have the client, you get the investment, and it's $100 a share, and it's only gone up to 105 over the year, and they're all upset. And they're like, well, it only went up to 105. And I don't know what's happening. I only made 5%. My friend made like 200%. It's like, yeah, but your friend bought it 2 years ago when it was 50. You're comparing it to your number. It was still successful. It still did well. It just didn't do as well as the other guy because the other guy bought it at a different price. So you're hinging the value of the investment or the growth of the investment based on your arbitrary, well, I only made X because I spent this and I only have this, as opposed to, no, I'm making money. So those are just kind of general ideas of anchoring bias. And we'll get into some anchoring bias stuff here in a minute too, because it does get confused. So